And on to the next concept. We got two of the NBA's greatest players, um, arguably two of the best players to ever play the game at their respective positions, retiring this year, going out the same year. Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki. Um, I got a question. Who's a better player, Dwayne Wade or Dirk Nowitzki? Who had a better career?
I think it's not a great comparison because they play very different positions and had fairly different roles in their franchises and played in two different conferences, which for their era really mattered. Um, Dwayne Wade's career is greatly changed by by his personality and his relationship with LeBron James. So, and this is not to shade on any of his accomplishments because he has some wonderful accomplishments even without that. But the thing that really separates them is LeBron James went to Miami because Dwayne Wade was there. And that gave Miami two more championships, four more finals appearances, and moved them into the more prestige group of franchises. And I think Dwayne gets credit for that, but I don't think that is something you normally compare in terms of players. Dirk had a wonderful career. The thing about Dirk is that he had the consistency. You know, like if you have a franchise and Dirk is there for as long as he's been there, how many seasons did he play?
Uh,
18, 19?
no, I think it was over 20. I think it's
Was it 20? Did he play a whole
I
20?
think it's 20.
Oof. So Dirk, you know, when a guy puts in 20 years, he never leaves the team. I think Dirk's championship and Wade's championship are a little bit similar in the sense that Wade in the finals was the best person holding a basketball.
Hmm.
And but I feel like Dirk throughout the entire playoffs was the best person touching the basketball. And he specifically beat Wade that time, and Wade specifically beat Dirk. So I think their careers are reasonably close, even though I think Dwayne Wade is a better player. But because Dwayne hasn't always been healthy, because he left the team, and because some of his best accomplishments were the result of more his personality than his play in terms of his friendship with LeBron, um, I think they're a little more even than people would say. But obviously, I think Wade had the he's more accomplished.
Yeah, I definitely would give Wade the edge. Wade is to me was a better player. I think that obviously you have the differences in positions and so on and
Yeah,
so forth.
Dirk
But
literally invented a move, and everybody in the league is copying it now, which I'll always give you a lot of credit for.
absolutely, that's all great. But Wade was a better player to me. I think Wade was a more, um, just a more complete. He was a more. If you take into consideration what you expect from each person in their role as a superstar, but with the differences being the positions that they play and so on and so forth. If you were to take into consideration those things, I think that Dwayne Wade was just a better player. Um, I mean, Dirk Nowitzki's amazing. He's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. But I would give Wade the credit. I would say he's the better player, or I think he had a better career. I don't take anything away or marginalize anything that Wade did once LeBron got on the team, um, because I mean, that's every almost every NBA player there is has benefited from having amazing teammates.
Well, let me clarify that. What I'm not saying I'm taking that away from Wade. What I'm saying is usually when something like that happens, it's the front office that's the organizer of that. But in
Hmm.
this situation, Dwayne Wade was the architect of the
Yes.
Heatles.
Hmm.
And that's very unique, which makes comparing his career to Dirk's kind of difficult because he deserves credit for that.
But Dirk has something too similar that he deserves credit for. Dirk took less money so many times with Dallas down the stretch to help them facilitate and make offers to guys. Now, he did it working through a general manager that he had great chemistry, an owner who he had great chemistry with. But Dirk did some of the same types of off the court. He assisted his team in player acquisition as well. And to be totally honest, there's not a lot of reports from other superstars across the league during this era who have given back as much money in an effort to bring in certain. Now, of course, Dwayne Wade did the same thing when LeBron got there, because Dwayne Wade could have said, "I want Bam, and this is what
Hmm.
I need, and if you give me everything that you're supposed to pay me, you will not be able to get Dwayne. You will not be able to get LeBron James. You will not be able to get Chris Bosh." He could have done that. He didn't do that. But Dirk did do some things in terms of sacrifice. So this is why I asked this question, because I think that they're probably a little bit more comparable than it would seem normally when you're comparing a shooting guard to a power forward. But I think that their careers are somewhat similar. Not to mention the fact that they played each other twice in the finals, and split the final matchup. So I think it's pretty comparable. But um, I would give the edge to Wade, because if you want to if you want to say all things considered, right, and you look at Dwayne Wade, which was right about in his prime when he won the Finals MVP in '06, right, and Dirk was coming up right to his prime. I think the next year Dirk had the year, right, that was like,
Do you
whoa.
have the MVP? That which year did he have the MVP?
It feels like '07, or was it later than that? It feels
I don't
like
know.
it. I'll tell you in a second. It was, yeah, '06, '07, the next year after they lost. So they went to the finals '05, '06 season. They lost to the Heat. He came back, which is a testament to him too, because that was a crushing loss in in the finals. And to come back and have that type of season. But if you look at it, Dirk Nowitzki went out that year in the first round. The in his of his
Yeah, big upset.
Yeah, you know, um, and that's another thing, man. If you look at, and I hate to nitpick at somebody's career who's been so amazing, but if you look at the amount of first round upsets and losses just overall in the postseason, you know.
Well, that's why I talk about the different conferences because,
Mhm,
and we talked about this, well, specifically about Dallas, but just overall, Kobe, Tim Duncan, they were sharing a lot of real estate. Like from when Kobe and Shaq first hit the scene, when Utah was there,
mhm,
all the way up until basically, I mean, theoretically, you could say now, but specifically for this case, up until Tim Duncan's last championship, Kobe, Dirk, and Tim Duncan were like they were really preventing each other from success in various different ways. And the fact that Dirk had to go through Kobe and Tim Duncan and did, you know what I'm saying, and did so twice, it's like, well done. Dwayne Wade, I don't know what his career would be like if he had to go through the Lakers and the Spurs every single year of his career. Because both Kobe and Tim played forever, right?
mhm.
So Dirk is literally dealing with this all his life, you
Yeah,
know?
I don't think, but you have to kind of ask yourself, what's the question? What's more impressive, or what's least impressive? I don't, the thing of it is when Dallas was losing in the first round in Dirk Nowitzki's prime, they weren't losing to the Lakers and the Spurs.
Well, this goes back to what I was saying about. I mean, I know they lost to the Warriors,
They
but
lost to
and
they
they
lost to
lost to
the
Denver, right?
To the New Orleans Hornets in 5 games.
Yeah. So, but the thing about that is Dwayne Wade, that's where you talk about the injuries. And that's why I talk about Dirk with the consistency. Because, and it's the LeBron argument. When you're always healthy, when you're always in the playoffs, you stand to have a bunch of disappointment. But when you're Wade and you miss a season here, you're banged up for a season there, you get moved over here, then you get the privilege of only being there for the highlights. But I mean, honestly, I'm not even debating the point. I pick Wade, but I think that Dirk is impressive enough to have the discussion. And if someone felt that they prefer to have Dirk over Dwayne Wade, considering that Dallas had like the longest 50-game win streak or something like that during his tenure, like I grew up with the Dallas Mavericks being trash.
Yeah,
You
me
know what I'm
too.
saying?
I grew up with Mark Aguirre. Well, they were pretty good in the '80s with Mark Aguirre and Sam Perkins, and that was the first Mavericks team. I watched the Mavericks like a couple years removed from them being an expansion team.
Yeah.
So you know, and then later after Mark Aguirre got traded, they were hot garbage.
Right. And they were hot garbage most of the time. They were not
Right.
a team that had any relevance to my lifetime. The only thing that mattered about that team was Jason Kidd sat there and had a cup of coffee, and Derek Harper came from there to the Knicks. That
Yeah.
was that was all that
Yeah.
mattered about the Dallas Mavericks. There was no reason to know that name. Meanwhile, for Dirk's career, they were a premier franchise. Two finals appearances, many, many, many playoff appearances, many, many, many all-star games. And with Mark Cuban became a desired destination for a lot of people, a place that a lot of players are like, yeah, I want to go to Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark Cuban, I definitely Mark Cuban and Dirk, I think are
Yeah, it was credited to both of them by,
yeah,
by
they
players and like executives alike. Like, yeah, those two have really stabilized that franchise and made it a desirable location. So it's interesting because with Pat Riley, the Heat were always the Heat. They always going to be the Heat as long as Riley's there. But with Dirk, he kind of invented the Mavericks of today. So
hmm.
that's why I say it's kind of close because that consistency matters to a franchise. It matters to a city when your best player is always healthy, always gets you in the playoffs. That
Hmm.
does matter.
So so I got another question.
Sure.
I got another question. Who do you think means more to their franchise? Wade to the Heat or Nowitzki to the Mavericks?
And this is where it comes down to.
Hmm.
I think for Heat fans and Mavericks fans, it's equal. That's why I said that. I think Dirk's one championship and years and years of consistency, total class all the way through. Him being the symbol for the franchise, practically being the logo for that franchise, matters as much to Mavericks fans as much as Wade's three championships, bringing LeBron, him being a good guy, Wade County, all that stuff. I don't think that Dallas Mavericks fans love Nowitzki less than Heat fans love Dwayne Wade, and I don't think they have a reason to.
No,
But Wade's a better
I would,
player and has a better legacy. But in terms of like, if that was my team, I would feel as strongly about Dirk as anybody could feel about anybody.
no, I would agree. I would agree. I would say the love because they are without question the two most beloved players of their respective franchises, and the love that Mavericks fans have for Dirk and Wade, Heat fans have for Wade is so high that they're right there. So I would say it probably is equal. I can only think of
Similar FVP,
say it again. Actually, their FPVR is it similar?
FPVR, FPVR.
I don't know if I know it's got to be pretty similar. The only thing I don't know, Wade might be a little higher because on the
Well, he's got
FPVR,
the championships, but
yes,
Nowitzki's
Dirk.
got the MVP, and he's
Dirk.
got
Dirk has Dirk's thing is 276.4, and Wade's is where is Wade's? It is. It's up. I know it's up there. It's definitely up there because
yeah,
he's ahead of LeBron for sure on the
yeah.
FPVR because of the time spent and all of that. So um, yeah, it's really close. It's the championships are the thing though, but it definitely is really close. I think Wade is no, actually, Nowitzki's higher. Wade,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nowitzki's two
So
seventy point six.
according to the scientifically accurate FPVR, you call Nowitzki.
Yeah, I got Nowitzki. He has been more, but a part of that too is that he got there earlier. Like Nowitzki's rookie year is 98, 99, and Wade's
But he's
rookie
also
year.
healthier too. So
Well,
and he never left.
and he never left. So not only did Wade get there late, he also left for 2 years. So he didn't get there late. He got there later than Nowitzki got to
Yeah,
Dallas,
yeah, yeah.
essentially. So, yeah, but yeah, this is pretty interesting. I told you, I knew I'd
But
have you quoting the FPVR before long.
hey, I love using it against you. But definitely round of applause for both of those players. They made the league way better, and it's a
Yes,
shame to see them go. I'm
yes,
glad to see them both go out on their feet, and I'm looking forward to seeing Nowitzki mentor Porzingis and Doncic because he'll probably be a familiar face around the franchise for years to come.
I think so too. I think if he wants it, if he wants to be in a general manager type of role, if he wants to, I think it's his whenever he
Yeah,
wants. I think whenever he wants it is his.